It is a super exciting day. Today, we are setting up a 10-gallon shrimp tank. We are focusing on Neocaridina, and honestly, I'm putting some cherry shrimp in there. The caveat is, it isn't like, hey, we have a 10-gallon tank, we're setting it up with an unlimited budget. No, we are limiting ourselves to $100. Can we do it? The answer is yes, we can do it. But we are setting up this 10-gallon tank for $100. Let's get right into the video. What is going on, shrimp gears? This is Rob with flipaquatics.com, and today we are doing something fun. It's something that M has been pushing me to do for a long time. And last week on Coffee with Flip, everybody was like, oh, we're setting up 10-gallon tanks. Rob, you should actually do this. But they put a stipulation on me. I need to set up this shrimp tank for under $100. They didn't believe it was possible. I'm about to prove them wrong. Now, there's a couple of things that we're going to assume. First thing, we are assuming that you already have the 10-gallon tank. So in $100, you don't have a budget to go out and buy, a 10-gallon tank for $30+. You might be able to get dollar per gallon sale. You might be able to get 50% off. You might be able to get this tank for $10. You might be able to find it on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace for $5. But I'm assuming we already have this because we do already have this. We actually have a ton of 10-gallon tanks. So 10-gallon tank, we have. Now, the other assumption is you have the ability to go to a local pet store, a local fish store, go to your local hobby and be able to pick this stuff. You're not paying for shipping. So we're not paying for shipping today. And so those are the two assumptions we're making, but we're gonna set this sucker up for under $100. We're gonna go through everything you need, testing your water, what we're gonna use for water, substrate. Like, we're literally gonna give you the blueprint of how you could replicate this and set this up for yourself for $100 or less. So without further ado, let's get right into today's video. So we're actually gonna go shopping, but I wanna ask you guys a question before we get too far into this video. If you guys are setting up a 10-gallon shrimp tank for you, what would your budget be? I'm going for $100. I think it'd be really hard to do it less than that unless you literally just have supplies laying around. But let me know down below, what is your budget for setting up a shrimp tank? Is it more than $100? If it's less than $100, like, I don't know how you're doing it, but that's pretty impressive. Let me know down below what your budget would be. It's time to go shopping. We are up here in our shipping room. This is where we keep all of our hard goods. So I brought the tank up. We even have Lexi over here. She's getting orders ready for tomorrow. So shout out to everybody that placed an order. We're doing our best to get everything out to you guys on time. We got a little backed up with the weather, but weather, it's like 60 degrees now. You see me in a t-shirt. So it's really nice. So we're trying to get everything caught back up. So we need to go shopping, we need to find a few things, and we need to stay on budget. So step one is we need a filter. So I got everything kind of laid out for me. Now, we're gonna put a link down below to everything that we pick out today. It will be a Google Sheet. You guys can click on that. It will have all the links to everything we're picking out, how much it cost, the whole budget, whether I did the budget right, didn't do it right. And so you guys will have access to all that. So first things first, we need our filter. So this is a scrap filter, which means that we drilled it poorly, which means we can't sell it. So that's what I'm gonna use, but I'm gonna assume that this is a brand new filter that looks great. It's perfect. This is $19.99. So I already spent 20% of my budget. This is $3.99. This is an airline kit. So that's what's gonna go into my lift tube, actually run my filter. So we're at $24 already. So next up, I need a substrate. I could do glass bottom, but I think that would be too budget. And substrate is what really holds the beneficial bacteria, and in addition to the filter. So I definitely want to have a substrate because I want this tank to look good. We are currently out of shrimp pool filter sand, which that's what I was initially thinking. So this stuff is really good stuff. The only thing is it's 10 pounds. I don't need 10 pounds. I only need 5 pounds. So I mean, this stuff is cool. This is the Aqua Natural. So that's white. We got black. You know what? I'm going to scrounge around for some shrimp pool filter sand. I think that's really what I want to do. I'll make sure we find some. I know we got to have it back around here somewhere. There's so many botanicals. So I love botanicals. I really do. I want driftwood. I want Indian almond leaves, but I only have a $100 budget. I've already spent $24 of it. And so I really got to be specific about it. So I think what I'm going to do, even though I really want some Malaysian driftwood, I really, really want it. I think it would kill my budget. So I might go out and like try to like collect wood out of the yard, which Em thinks that's hilarious. I might do that. I do want to get some alder cones, although I'm not seeing them for some reason. Maybe they're in this huge, no. Is this them? Hey, okay. So I'm gonna get some alder cones. These are only $4.50, so that puts us like $29. We're almost 30% through the budget, and we haven't even bought our shrimp yet. So I'm gonna get some of these, and the reason I'm gonna use these is I like having tannins in the water. It's a natural antioxidant. It helps prevent fungal and bacterial infections. And they break down in the water. They produce malm or biofilm, and so that's really good for the shrimp colony. So definitely gonna get some of these. So we're about 30% through the budget. Let's see what we need next. We found some. So our pole filter sand is normally white. This one's brown. And so we never ended up listing this product. So we had these laying around. It's the same exact thing. It's still pole filter sand. The only thing is it's a different color. So we're gonna use that. So some shrimp pole filter sand. This is, I believe, $11 or $10.99. So we're like halfway through our budget. This is gonna be tough. This really is gonna be tough, but we got our substrate, we got our filter, we got our botanicals. Now we need to decide on what shrimp we want to keep. I'm pretty confident it's gonna be cherry shrimp because I feel like that's the only thing we can afford. But let's go check out the Neocaridina pond room and we'll make a decision from there. I was looking at our budget. Again, we're about 50% through the budget, if not more. I figured out a way that we could save a little bit. So if you sign up for flipaquatics emails and text, you get a 10% off coupon. So I'm gonna take advantage of that sucker, use a 10% coupon. That gets me an extra $10 roughly in the budget, which I definitely need. So there's a lot of options. I was thinking, cherry shrimp initially, which I think that's what I'm gonna do because I definitely want 10 shrimp. For a 10-gallon tank, you for sure want to set it up. Come on, Liv, come on. Everybody live, hey. For a 10-gallon tank, you definitely want to get at least 10 shrimp. That is always like my starting point. You could try 5 shrimp. It's risky business because you want a good male to female ratio if you're trying to breed them, which I assume most of you will. But there are cheaper options. Like we could have done this whole row's all assorted Neocaridina, which if you just set up a tank just for fun, and you just want a 10-gallon tank to experience shrimp for the first time. I believe these are $5 less. So this was $45 or $44.99 versus a 10-pack of cherries, which is $49.99. But saving 10% off gets it down to about the $45 mark. So we could have done something more budget. We could have went with 5 shrimp. We could have done like the carbon rillies, the blue velvets, orange pumpkin. I'm really considering the orange pumpkin, or other people, we actually call them orange sun kiss, but it's all the same shrimp. So could have done that. That's kind of what I was leaning towards, but let's just do cherry shrimp. We're doing 10 shrimp, and I feel like that's gonna set us up for success. So going with cherry shrimp. We don't need them yet because the tank's not set up, and we'll talk about that later on in the video, but I'm gonna budget for 10 cherry shrimp. The last little thing that we need, there's actually 2 things, but one of them I've kind of forgot about, which isn't ideal because it's gonna be expensive. But I never like doing a shrimp tank without some Java moss or any type of moss. Obviously, if you have a bigger budget than me, you could pick, there's some Wasser tang, there's Taiwan moss, there's, I don't know, hooker moss. There's so many different types of mosses. So Wasser tang is probably my favorite, but it's like $20 a portion. Your homie's balling on a budget. So we got $9.50 for some Java moss. So that's what we're gonna do. I would encourage you to increase that budget, get some Wasser tang, but it's completely up to you. We're doing this for under $100. We almost have everything. We're pretty much out of budget, very close to, we might have like $10 or $15 left. So we still need an air pump. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm personally gonna go steal Leathers because she don't need it. we're gonna go over to our office and steal it. I'm so used to having just central air systems that you don't need air pumps. But something that I needed to consider for this setup is most of you at home need an air pump. So I'll find a very reasonably priced one that I'll put a link for in our Google spreadsheet. That way you guys know. I'll still do my best to make sure we make the budget. Most of the air pumps, I'll try to find one that comes with airline tubing, so you wouldn't actually need this kit. But if you already, if you're ordering stuff and you don't have airline, or you already have a air pump, then that's where this would come into play. So we'll save a little bit of budget by not needing that. We're assuming that you don't need it, based on me finding an airline or an air pump that comes with some airline tubing. So let's go steal that. There's air pump. Wait, that wasn't the right music. It's not even running anyway. So this is great. Technically, oh my gosh, she has it like hooked in here. We can steal her airline tubing out of here. Now this, I don't encourage theft as a part of decreasing your budget. So we're gonna act like I didn't do this and still include it in the budget, but for today's video, little theft is what we needed. She'll never even know. She won't. We're back. Let's go through all the supplies we have. We got our mat filter, lift tube. My gosh, apparently I can't talk. So this all comes, this one price again, $20. We got our air pump. I'm gonna assume, I'm gonna find an air pump that is $15 or less that comes with airline tubing. So $35. $11 for some shrimple substrate. So man, it's adding up. We got some alder cones, $4.50, Java moss, $9.50, and then we got cherry shrimp, which is $50. So with that being said, we have used our $100 budget. We got our tank. So there's a couple things we couldn't afford. Fortunately, we couldn't afford any driftwood or any almond leaves, which is a bummer. But before we add the shrimp, I'm gonna go forward some things from my house, and we could talk about that later on in this video. So I'm going to put some wood in here, some leaves in here, but that's just something that we're gonna talk about in a little bit. We're not getting the shrimp right now because we need this tank to season. We wanna season this. So we're gonna set this up. We're gonna let it run for about a month and a half. I wanna start seeing some algae in here, and then we're gonna add the shrimp. So I'm gonna go through, the type of parameters we need, how to set up this tank, all those details, but at least you know what we have, what we need, and now it's actually putting this tank together. Another thing that we don't have money for, because again, balling on a budget, is we don't have a light to put on this tank. So aquarium lighting is pretty expensive. So what I would recommend if you're doing this on a budget is just using like a lamp. Like you can literally go to the thrift store. Huge thrifter, loves it. She can contest to this or attest to this, whatever the correct word is, don't judge me. She will attest to this, that you can get like a lamp for like $5, and then you get like a 6,500 or 6,500 K bulb. That's the best bulb. It grows plants. You can put that thing right next to it. You can get a little clip-on light, something like that. We are using God's gift, sunlight. So we have it in our room that gets a decent amount of sunlight, not direct sunlight, but it lights up the room, and that's what we're going to use to light up this tank. Now, again, you guys might have a bigger budget than me. You can do whatever you want. For this video, we are using sunlight, and that is how we're gonna set this puppy up. First step, I'm gonna get a razor blade. You see, we got some labels on the front, so we'll peel that off. I don't know why companies do this, but like the top label comes off really easy. The barcode, you need a razor blade to get that off. So we're gonna get that off. We're gonna rinse this out. I just use water to rinse it out. If you guys want to clean it, a little bit of vinegar, distilled white vinegar with a little bit of water, like a 50-50 mix. Put that in there, wipe all the sides down real good. That will sanitize it. Let it dry, and then you're ready to start setting it. If you guys live near Flipaquatics, this is a bunch of lamps that we got for, I think there's 4 lamps per box, and there's 4 boxes, and we had already opened 2 of the boxes. So literally what happened, we have Mac.bid. It is a local auction place that literally just resells like Amazon returns. And they list the up there and I was like, I want a lamp. And so I bid $1 on each one of these boxes and no one bid against me. So I got every single box that I bid $1 on. So I got lamps for like literally $2 a piece, like after taxes and fees and all that. So just goes to show you, you can get lamps for real cheap. Before you just go filling your tank up with water, you need to know what your water is. So here's the cool thing. If you take your water to a local pet store, they're gonna test it for you. You just go in there and you'd be like, hey, I wanna test my water. The two things that you wanna test, KH, GH. It's the most important thing for shrimp. So we already know our water here. So we obviously have like a big filtration. Another thing is you wanna use dechlor. Our system is already dechlorinated, so I don't have to worry about that. Some people that have well water don't need to worry about it. So like, I'm not gonna include it in the budget because not everyone's gonna have to worry about that. But if you are in tap water, most likely you have chlorine in your water and you're gonna wanna neutralize that. I can put some options on the budget like GH test kit, KH test kit, TDS pen, things like that that you don't necessarily need, but if you wanted it, and at least you have a resource to get it. So GH and KH test kit, you're gonna wanna test that. So our parameters here for the shrimp that we're setting up with tap water is we have a GH of like 6, a KH of 3. Now, it's roughly that. It fluctuates depending on the season. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but I'm always aiming for a 2-to-1 ratio, GH to KH. That is the most ideal thing. So the ideal GH is about 10, and the ideal KH is about 5. Now, TDS really doesn't matter unless you're remineralizing water, which means you're using an RO unit and you're starting from 0 TDS and you're building it from there. So we're gonna act like TDS is an invalid measurement for this. Really, the only thing that matters for us, GH and KH. That's the only thing that matters for this setup. We know that our tap water works, so that's what we're using. We don't have to invest in the GH and KH test kit because we already took it to the pet store, flipaquatics, and they tested it for us. Such kind people over there. So that's what we're doing. We're setting up tap water. Most Neocaridina or most tap water / well water is going to be okay for Neocaridina because most tap water, most well water across the United States is harder. That means it has a pH above 7. That's what you're going to want to aim for. You want a pH above 7. If you have KH in your water, most likely your pH is going to be above 7 because KH is what stabilizes the pH. But without further ado, let's actually go set up this aquarium. One thing that I also forgot, which we don't have in the budget, is food. So I'm gonna make the assumption that you guys also have other fish, maybe other shrimp, maybe some snails. So you can just feed them whatever you're already feeding. That's what I'm gonna do, is I'm just gonna feed, you know, what we're already feeding our shrimp here. And that's a little unfair. But what we feed is the Northfin bundle. We feed Northfin Community, Northfin Kelp, Wafers, Northfin Bug Pro, and Veggie, Community, Kelp, and Bug Pro. Those are the 4 that we feed. So again, I'll put it as an option if you need food. Another thing is if you just do not have a budget to get food, there's a couple things you could do. Canned green beans, unsalted, great food for them. You know, having the natural light will produce a lot of algae. The alder cones are going to produce a lot of biofilm. So there's a good chance that they could sustain off those things. Just feeding them like leftover vegetables, blanched vegetables, things like that, that you're already eating and you just have extra. So you can make it work without getting like a designated shrimp food or fish food or something like that. But if you did want to get it, there are some options for you. So we're going to get this thing set up. The first thing that you're going to need to do is hit that subscribe button. Guys, you don't want to miss a freaking thing. You want to be a part of this. We do videos like this every Saturday. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Become a part of our community here at Flipaquatics. You won't regret it. Full transparency, definitely a reject as far as quality goes for the mat filter. So I didn't want to use a brand new one. You know, I want to save the nice stuff for you all at home. So this one is 35 PPI, which means it is the shrimp safe mat and filter. The pores are so small that the shrimp can't get in there. The fish one is a little bit bigger so that, you know, can process more waste. And so we're using the shrimp safe version today. So this is how you're going to want to install this. You're going to put it in your aquarium. And it doesn't have to be perfect right now, but this is roughly how it goes in. We get our lift tube. You want to put the airline tubing into this before it goes in the aquarium. You want this to be the shorter distance. And again, you can see, obviously this is a reused lift tube as well. You know, balling on a budget, you got to use what you have. So you want the smaller portion to be right here. And then you're just going to fit this airline tubing down in there, and it should go straight down, but you always look in the bottom, make sure that is in there correctly, meaning it's going this direction, not this direction. You don't want any kinks in it. And then also you want it about 1 inch from the bottom. So that is how you properly set one of these up. Tilt it forward. Now, this is how they come standard. I don't love this look, and I'm thinking about changing it. I like them flush. So like if I'm setting this up at home, I don't want this piece sticking out, and I would just cut this off. So if you have some type of sawzall, something like that, you can cut that pretty flush. Whatever, you can leave it the way it is. It's fine. We're gonna leave it the way it is, but if it was going in my living room, that sucker would be cut. And then I want to get this mat filter as close to the back wall as possible without kinking the airline tubing. So I can go a little bit farther back because I don't want to lose space in my aquarium, but I also want to leave enough room to be able to stick a siphon hose down in there, maybe my hand down in there. That way, if a shrimp gets in there, I can get a net in there. Like you want to have a little bit of room. You just don't want to take up too much of the room. Now, this seems to fit in there pretty good. You want to make sure there's no gaps on the bottom. All good. Looks like it's working. Now, we're going to add our substrate. And you always add your substrate before water. It's really, really important. Now, the reason for that is if you add substrate after your water, it's going to cloud up. It's going to get in the mat filter. You want to disturb it the least amount possible. You can rinse this. I don't rinse it. Pool filter sand is generally really clean. It's already been pre-rinsed. But if you want to be safe, it's always better to pre-rinse stuff unless it's active soil, which we're not going to talk about today. So I'm just going to pour some of this in here. Again, this is 5 pounds. You could do 10 pounds. It's completely personal preference. I like having just enough substrate to cover the bottom trim. So like, I think it's like 1/2 inch of substrate, something like that. And this actually fills the space really, really good. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. And then the only other thing that we need to add to this tank would be alder cones. So just open this sucker up. It's actually harder to open than it looks. Oh my gosh. Whoa. For a 10-gallon tank, this comes with 20. Or actually, it comes with 10. We get the 10 count because that's what's $450. There is a 20 count. It's a little bit more expensive. We didn't quite have the budget for it. So for a 10-gallon tank, I would say 1 for every 2 gallons. So I'm going to start with 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just drop them in there. Now we need to fill this. Little hack for you guys. When you're filling, use your shrimple pool filter sandbag. Put it down in there, and then I'm gonna pour water on top of that, because if I poured it straight in there, it would disturb the substrate, it would make a mess. I'm not even gonna run the filter until the water completely calms down, because I don't want all the sand to go into the filter. I don't want to clog the filter. I want to let the live bacteria form in there. So we're gonna fill this up slowly. I'm gonna go get a 5-gallon bucket of water, show you how I would do it, and then yeah, we'll get this sucker running. And again, we're not adding shrimp today because we want this tank to season. I would say for seasoning, it's going to be like 4 to 6 weeks is probably ideal. You could speed the process up if you want to get some live bacteria, which that's what we use here at Flipaquatics. But if I'm not in a hurry, which most of you at home shouldn't be in a hurry, you want to take your time with this kind of stuff. I would let this go for 6 weeks, just let it season, let some algae grow in there, some biofilm, things like that, and then add the shrimp and then add the live bacteria. So we'll talk about that here shortly. There's a couple approaches you can take to filling up a tank. And I know this is the boring part, so like you guys probably don't care. One is the I don't really care type of thing where you just dump it in. We're not doing that. We're going to do the lesser of that. We're going to do a catch cup. You fill the catch cup up, put it in here, and then you can slowly do it. Boom. Now you just do that for about 45 minutes and we'll have the tank filled. The other thing you could do, which I really like, but I don't have a siphon tube up here, is you actually set this on the lip like that. And then you use a airline kit or something, some type of tubing, and then you just start a siphon and just let it fill up on its own. That's the best way to do it. Fortunately, I don't have any of that up here, and you know, we want to get this set up quick. So I'm going to go through, actually fill this tank up, show you what it looks like done, and then we're going to let this thing season. And then you'll see us in about a month, 2 months with us actually adding the shrimp. So we got it all filled up, looks good. The alder cones are definitely going to leach some tannins in the water. Liv already mentioned that they're tinkling, which means I guess that tannins are already coming out soon. I don't know. But anyway, a couple points to point out. One, we didn't start the mat filter yet. You can see pool filter sand is pretty clean. It hasn't really stirred up the water at all. And so I'm good to turn this on. Now with mat filters, there's two options. One, you can fill it up all the way to the top and that's completely fine. It's still gonna have good flow. The other option is keeping the water line right below the bottom of the lift tube. That will prevent any shrimp from getting to the backside of the lift tube. It's just personal preference, whether you care, don't care. If they get behind it, it's really not that big of a deal. You can net them out pretty easy, or you just keep the water line lower. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. Hopefully it works. I guess we haven't really tested this thing. So sounds like, hey, it's working. So let's add the last little touch. We got our Java moss. So this is a little portion of Java moss. I like breaking it up as much as possible. Now you can actually use scissors and cut this up, and that will help this thing propagate and grow better. So I'm just gonna tear it up a little bit, get some nice little portions of it. And then I kind of just let Java moss land wherever it lands and then grow from there. I don't really want it in a certain location, and it will kind of just settle anywhere in the tank. And then the shrimp can kind of move it around where they want it. But that's roughly how I would initially set up an aquarium for under $100. And we didn't even get the shrimp yet. So we're gonna head back to Flipaquatics here in about a month and a half, pick up some cherry shrimp, and then also go through the cycling process to make sure that this thing is cycled and ready to go before we ever add shrimp. So that is our plan. Right now, we're gonna let it season, and we'll see you guys in about a month and a half. You guys make it a great rest of your day. As always, God bless. We'll catch you on the flip side. What? What a brat. Going up and down the steps with literally. Weren't you behind me? You love Dead Space?
And then it'll get people to cook.
Orphan Veggie. Did I say that? This week on, actually, I forgot to do my intro. I mean, what do you think? Nature's Mio